Good morning, good afternoon, good day, wherever you are, and welcome to the University of Michigan African Presidential Scholars Program Info Webinar. My name is Omolade Adunbi. I am a professor of Afro-American African Studies and the director of the African Studies program at the University of Michigan. With me today are Professor Andres Kouadze, who is a professor of linguistics here at the University of Michigan, and is also the associate director of the African Studies Center. And until recently, the director of the African Studies Center. Also with me is Marwa Hassan, who is our academic specialist at the African Studies Center here at the University of Michigan. Today's agenda, we'll start with the overview of the program, and we'll go from there to eligibility requirements, and we'll also talk about the difference between direct applications versus nomination route. Then, what are the online application tasks that you need to pay attention to? Then what should be in your proposal, and what are reviewers going to be looking for when they are looking at your proposal? And at the end, we'll have questions and answers. And please, if you plan to ask a question, post it to the Q&A session. Q&A section of this webinar. Thank you once again for joining us. And let's get started. First, I would like to talk about the University of Michigan. We are the #1 public university in the United States, and in World Reputation ranking, we rank as number 16. And in some other rankings, we are considered to be among the top 20 best universities in the world. And in terms of research volume, we are the #1 research volume of all US public universities. And in 2021, the research expenditure for the university was $1.5 billion in total. And we're still expecting data for this year's research expenditure. And of course, the year is just almost done. So that data will be out in a matter of days as soon as the year ends. And what you're looking at here in blue are our research presence on the continent of Africa. And as you can see, many of our colleagues here at the university are engaged with many colleagues in Africa doing research. And all the blues indicate research sites where we are present on the continent of Africa. Then on the yellow side are areas where we are engaged in capacity building with colleagues at various institutions and universities in Africa. And on the green side are where our colleagues are either visiting professors or teaching scholars at various universities on the continent. And there are 19 schools in the university. The first is College of Architecture and Urban Planning, School of Art and Design, Ross Business School, School of Dentistry, School of Education, College of Engineering, School for the Environment and Sustainability, School of Information, School of Kinesiology, Law School, College of Literature, Science and the Arts, College of Medicine, Music, School of Music, Theater and Dance, School of Nursing, School of Pharmacy, School of Public Health, School of Public Policy, and School of Social Work. There are about 50,000 students and about 40,000 staff that makes up the university. So what are the key components of the UMAPS program? First is that it is a residential research fellowship. This means that when someone is admitted into the program, you have to be in residency for the entire duration of the program. And it is also for early to mid-career scholars. And it's 5 months, either from August to December, which we call the fall cohort, or January to May, which we call the winter cohort. And once admitted to the program, you will be matched with a U of M researcher, scholar, or professor that is in your area of research interest. And those who are admitted to the program will have access to resources, libraries, laboratories, and training opportunities. There are over 40 libraries across the university, and there are several labs where our scientists work on a daily basis. So whoever is admitted to the program will have access to all of these resources. Then the program is an opportunity for professional development. Therefore, those admitted to the program will have professionalization activities lined up for them. We have a writing program, for example, where you are put through the best practices in writing for an academic audience. So, and this program is intensive, and one of the best in the field of writing is someone who puts all of the admitted scholars through this writing program. And there are other professional development activities that are lined up for those who are admitted to the program. Then the last point here is that whoever is admitted to the program is fully integrated into the University of Michigan community. What this means is that you are not just a visitor to the university, but you have become an alumnus of the university. Next slide is next slide. What you see here is the fact about where many of our scholars have come from in the past. In the last 14 years, we've had close to 200 scholars. And many of these scholars have come from countries such as Ghana, Nigeria, Liberia, Ethiopia, Democratic Republic of the Congo, Gabon, Kenya, Sudan, Tanzania, Zambia, South Africa, Mozambique, and Mozambique, and several other countries on the continent. And when we look at the distribution of those who have participated in this program, 67 or 36% have been female and 64% male. In terms of those who already had a PhD before doing the program, they have, sorry, I'll take that again. In terms of those who have participated in the program, 19.8% have no terminal degree, and 15.4% have some sort of terminal degree in progress. Then about 32.1% have acquired their PhD post UMAPS program. Then 32.7% had a PhD before coming into the program. Basically, 19.8% were in no terminal degree, whereas 15.4% were in a terminal degree in progress before joining UMAPS. So what are the expectations for the program? What do we cover and what do we not cover here at the University of Michigan? The first is that before you can be admitted to the university as a scholar in this program, we want a commitment from your home university or college that your salary will continue to be paid while in the fellowship. And then for us on our part, we'll cover your visa application, we'll cover your airfare and ground transportation, we'll also provide housing, we'll provide health insurance, we'll be giving you monthly living expenses, and we'll also give you some stipend for research expenses. So just to be clear, we want a commitment from your university that while you are enrolled in this program, your salary will continue to be paid. Then on our part, we will cover your visa application, airfare and grant transportation, housing, health insurance, stipend for living expenses, stipend for research expenses. And just to get a testimony of how previous scholars who have participated in this program, how they feel about the program. As one from Stellenbosch University in South Africa said in 2018, 2019, this scholar said UMAPS is by far one of the best fellowship programs on offer for African scholars because you get to work with some of the leading scholars in your field. And responses include that after completing the program, they have had their promotions in terms of their career goals, they have improved their teaching, then the program gives them the opportunity to be familiar with US higher education, then they've increased their publication output after completing the program. Then they have also been able to innovate at their own institution, and they've also had access to grants and awards since completing the program. So basically, this is what many of the UMAPS alumni told us after completing the program. Now, eligibility requirements. This is important. The program is for early to mid-career scholars. Basically, we expect someone with no more than 10 years of employment in higher education. We also expect that whoever is applying to this program will currently be employed in an ongoing position at a university or college in Africa. So not someone with a terminal degree, but with no employment at that university. So for example, if you are a lecturer and at the same time doing your PhD at your university or at any university elsewhere, you are qualified to apply. Then the third eligibility requirement is that we expect your home institution to write a recommendation letter that indicates that your salary will continue to be paid if you are admitted to this program. The fourth eligibility requirement is that you have to be able to remain in residence for the 5 months of the program. What this means is that, just to reiterate again, that you are not coming into the program for vacation. So we do not expect you to come into the program and want to travel around the United States. Of course, there will be an opportunity to travel if you want to take a weekend trip. That might be considered. But we want you to be able to devote the entire 5 months to doing what actually brought you to the University of Michigan. Then there are some exclusions and special considerations. Previous UMAPS fellows are not eligible to apply. So if you've been a UMAPS scholar previously, you can no longer participate in this program. Then preference for individuals without extensive international experience outside of Africa. What we mean by this is that if you've been on a fellowship previously, maybe you've been on 2 or 3 fellowships, like Leventis Fellowship or any fellowship in any of the country outside of Africa, you are not eligible to apply. But at the same time, let me say that if you've just been on 1 fellowship or you've collaborated with a scientist outside of Africa that invited you to just come visit their lab, you are still eligible to apply. Or if you have maybe been to annual meetings of scientists in the US or annual meetings of the Association of African Studies or annual meetings of your discipline, that does not count towards the eligibility requirement. Then it's also important to note the difference between direct application and nomination route, which is going to be the focus of our next slide. We are currently accepting applications for the 2023-2024 cohorts, and the deadline to apply is October 15th, 2022. And you only need to submit one application, whether you are interested in the August to December 2023 cohort or January to May 2024 cohort. You only need to submit one application. And when you are submitting your application, there will be a column that says, are you interested in the August to December or the January to May? Even though you may tick that the fact that you are interested in the August to December or to January to May, but we have the discretion to pick people, to select people for which of the cohorts that we want them to participate in. And what we take into consideration in most cases is balance. For example, we want a balance of disciplines as well as a balance, as well as gender balance. Then currently we accept direct applications from the following countries: Ethiopia, Ghana, Kenya, Liberia, Rwanda, Nigeria, Angola, Malawi, Mozambique, Botswana, South Africa, and Uganda. What this means is that scholars who are teaching at any universities or college in these countries that I mentioned do not need to be nominated before they can fill out their application and submit. That is why they are direct applications countries. So basically just go out, fill out your application and submit it. You do not need to be nominated before you can submit your application if you teach in any of these universities. And we should also make it clear that we do not look at citizenship. What this means is that if you are a Nigerian and you teach at a university in Ghana, we are going to evaluate your application on the basis of where you teach, the university where you teach, and not your country of citizenship. And the same applies to everyone. If you are a South African and you teach at a university in Botswana, we are going to evaluate your application on the basis of your teaching in Botswana and not on the basis of the fact that you are a South African citizen. So we do not look at citizenship. We look at educational institutions where you have affiliation. Then the nomination route. Any other country in Africa that is not part of these direct applications countries will have the opportunity to apply. But in order for them to apply, they will need to be nominated by a faculty member at the University of Michigan. What this means is that if you have an established relationship with any of our colleagues at the University of Michigan, and they feel comfortable nominating you to participate in the program, you should contact them and ask them to nominate you. And once you are nominated, that will trigger the application process for you. What this means is that the moment they put your name in the system, you will get an email asking you to fill out the application and submit. But I should also note that being nominated is not a guarantee that you will get a space. What it means that you now have the opportunity to apply just like every other person is applying, and your application will be evaluated just like we evaluate all the other applications from other countries and candidates. So just to reiterate that, application is initiated by a UM faculty or researcher submitting the nomination. Then you as the applicant will receive email after nomination to start application process. But nominator letter does not necessarily mean that you've been accepted into the program. It basically means that you can fill out the program, fill out the application to be considered for the program. And the nominator letter does not equate to support letter from your own institution. Support letter from your own institution is still a major requirement for the program. So the application process looks like this. You submit online application form, and when you in submitting your online application form, you upload in PDF format your curriculum vitae A, then your UMAPS proposal, then the support statement. And this support statement should come from the chair, dean, or vice chancellor of your university. So we understand that a lot of universities in Africa, have different procedures for writing recommendation letters or support letters for some of their scholars who are going abroad for a program. So which is why we are leaving it open. But what we want to see in this letter of support is the commitment that your university or college will continue to pay your salary when you are participating in this program. This is why it is important for you to get the letter from someone that has the authority to guarantee that your letter, that your application, I'll take that back. This is why it is important for you to get this letter of support from someone with authority to guarantee that your salary will continue to be paid if you were to be accepted into this program. And this is why part of the requirement this year is that you have to upload your support letter from your university before you can submit your application. What this means is that once you put in the name of whoever is going to be uploading your support letter, that will trigger an email to be sent to the person. So this is why it is important for you to have a conversation with your vice chancellor or the dean of your college or the chair of your department or whoever is going to be writing this letter. It's important to have a conversation with them prior to filling out the form, because the moment you fill out the form, an email will go to the person. So you have to let the person know to expect the email so that once they get the email, they will upload their letter to our system. And it is after uploading this letter that you can now submit your application. So how are applications reviewed? We have 3 disciplinary initiatives at the African Studies Center. The first is the African Humanities and Heritage Initiative. And this takes care of humanities, art, and qualitative social sciences. The second is ASRI, African Social Research Initiative. And this takes care of quantitative social sciences, public health, and law. Then the last is STEM Africa, that is science, technology, engineering, mathematics, medicine in Africa. And this takes care of science, technology, engineering, environment, math, medicine. And I should also make it clear that sometimes applications can come from humanities, and we will say that this application is relevant to those in ASRI. Then we will send it to the ASRI committee to look at. For example, if you are in a college of education and you are doing mathematics, so your application will not necessarily go to HAHI. It will go to ASRI or STEM. And the same thing for those who are doing environmental studies. If we say that the kind of environmental studies you are doing is qualitative social sciences, we might send it to HAHI to evaluate. But just to let you know that our reviewers are top in their field. These are experts and staff who are from different disciplines, from engineering to mathematics to medicine, public health, anthropology, linguistics, history, and all of the other disciplines that exist out there. So just know that you are writing for experts in your field, and you are also writing for a general academic audience. Remember, if you are in history, for example, and your application goes to the Humanities and Heritage Initiative, remember that it is not just historians that are members of this HAHI committee. There are other disciplines in the humanities that constitute membership of this committee. So while you are writing for experts in your field, you are also writing for a general academic audience. So you have to bear that in mind so that you make your application as legible as possible. Then the selection criteria. First, we look at the preparedness of applicants and quality of proposed program of scholarship. We also look at academic fit with interest of ASC initiatives, that is AHI, ASTRI, and STEM. Then we look at balance of UMAPS cohort in terms of topic and in terms of field. And we look at support of your own institution. So if you have all of this in place, so your likelihood of getting into the program is higher than those who don't have all of these selection criteria taken care of. So basically, for your proposal, it shouldn't be more than 5 pages long. And in writing your proposal, follow your disciplinary specific practice for your field. If you're an anthropologist, write as an anthropologist. If you are a mathematician, write as a mathematician. But at the same time, write in a way that will make it accessible to those who may not come from your field. So what we are saying here is that while not forgetting your discipline and your field and specific practice, also target your proposal towards a general academic audience. So a good proposal, a quality proposal will address at least many of the following. Give a background of the problem or the issue you want to research, that is, contextualize your project in relevant literature and research area. Then what specifically will you investigate? Then what are the methodologies that you want to use to execute the research? And more importantly, milestones. Remember, you are going to be here for 5 months. So if you are going to be here for 5 months, we want to see what you plan to do every month that you are here. So for example, what do you hope to gain from the program? Then why the University of Michigan? And what outcomes do you expect? For example, do you plan to submit materials for publication in journals? Or do you plan to complete your PhD or dissertation thesis while here? Or do you, as a scientist or a medical practitioner teaching at a medical school in Africa, want to gain new skills in medicine? So all of this will have to be clearly addressed in your proposal. So just to recap that, we need to see a contextualized project idea and their relevance to the literature and research area. And then we need to see the specific problem you plan to investigate. And remember, when you are putting your proposal together, it is important to make it clear that this is a research that has already been done or that you plan to do prior to arriving at Michigan. That is for those who are not scientists. But for those who are scientists who wants to work in a lab, you have to be able to identify the problem that you want to do your research in if you are admitted into a lab at the University of Michigan here. Then for milestones, you have to be able to make it clear that in your first month, these are the tasks you want to accomplish. In your second month, these are the tasks you want to accomplish. And in your third, fourth, and fifth month, you have to highlight all of these in your application. And this is what makes your application very strong. So it doesn't, for example, it doesn't make sense to say that, well, in my first month, I want to submit 5 journal articles. That will be too general. 5 journal articles. Which journal are you thinking about? And is this a goal that can be accomplished within a month? Of course, you know that in a month, you cannot put together 5 journal articles. So it might make sense to specify that in the first month, I want to begin to either collect literature on a particular journal article that you plan to write. Then in your second month, you will work with the writing team that we are going to put together, to fine-tune some of the ideas that you have in a paper that you are writing for a journal. And it might be necessary to also name some of the journals that you have in mind for those who are in journal field. Then it can also be that maybe you have a book manuscript that you want to work on, and you have maybe 2 or 3 chapters ready, and you want to complete the rest of the chapters while here. Or it could also be that you want to finish your dissertation. So previously, we've seen a lot of UMAPS scholars come here because they are still in a PhD program. Then they come, they use the opportunity of the 5 months program to finish their dissertation. Then on getting back to their home institution, they submitted their dissertation and they graduate. So that could be you too. Those are what I have for you. And now we're ready to take all of your questions. And many of you have put questions together in the Q&A section of this. And my colleague Andres have done a great job in answering many of these questions. But as we progress, I'll call on a few of you to come up and ask your question directly. And for those who may not want to come up to ask their questions, please keep posting your questions to the Q&A section of this webinar, and we'll try as much as possible to answer all of your questions. That's what I've got for all of you. Thank you. All right, thank you once again, everyone, for joining us. It's been nice being with you this morning, afternoon, or whichever time zone you are in. And we look forward to reading all of your applications. And please, if you still have more questions, feel free to contact me or contact any of my colleagues. Just go to our website. You'll see our email addresses there. Feel free to write us, and we'll be happy to answer all of your questions. And of course, many details are also on our website, and this video will also be posted on our website for those who are not able to join us today. Have a good day, everyone, and we look forward to reading all of your applications. Thank you, and bye for now.